My name is Tom. I am 56 and my soon-to-be ex-wife and friends with benefits woman Susan. She is 50. It was a wonderful Sunday morning that she opened her mouth to ruin our marriage. We need to talk, Tom. Sure, go ahead, my love. The kids have left and there is nothing left in my life. Me being the person I am, I told her, yes, there is nothing to do. Let's have sex. She cringed and waved her hands. She then dropped a bomb. I want to go out and explore my life. No one will hire you for a proper job at your age. You can still opt to be an old age model if you want. I can put some calls for you. I jokingly said, no, I want to date other people. She shot back. I was silent. So, in short, you want to cheat on me. It's not cheating if you're informed ahead of time. You were right, but that would still be breaking our vows and committing a sin, I added. Don't give me lecture, and I am serious, so better put off your jokes. She shouted. I went silent. I have never thought of getting in bed with anyone else other than you. Not that I did not have the opportunity. I chose my wife over everyone else. I spoke. It was her turn to be silent, but not for long. Tonight, I'll be going out on a date, and you will not stop me. Only you can stop yourself. I can just remind you that you have a husband who has been here for you ever since he married you 12 years ago. The pain in my voice was evident. I walked out of the room. As she stated, she went out. That night, I just drank an entire bottle of Jack Daniel and got wasted. Next morning, she was all smiles and I was a wreck. She came up and stated that she has met someone. His name is Clive. I walked out to the bathroom and puked in the toilet. My bitch of a wife came running and asked if I am fine. Yes, my love, I am just puking out the remaining love I had for you down the toilet. I washed my face and went to lay down on my bed. Susan, this will be the last time. Please reconsider your choices and don't walk the path that may lead us to a lot of pain. He is better than you in bed, has a great job, a great body, and under no circumstances I will let go of him. In case you want to divorce me, fine, be ready for the streets. I will wipe you clean. So, take it or leave it. She came up to me and stated that everything that is happening will be great for our marriage and will help in the long run. Long run, my ass. You just ruined your marriage by getting into another man's bed. I just closed my eyes and just lay there. We are planning to meet tonight, so live with it. She walked out of the room. That evening she dressed to kill and went out, waved me by and drove out. I was there alone and broken. I limped back to my room, opened my safe, and took out my SIG pistol. I held it to my head and closed my eyes. After struggling for 5 minutes, I was drenched and breathing heavy. I looked up and started at the mirror beside my bed. I saw a defeated man. Is that you, Tom? I asked myself. I held the pistol to the mirror and whispered bang. I went to bed. Next morning was different. My bitch of a wife was not home yet. I cooked a good breakfast, had my coffee, and went to the nearest gym and enrolled myself. I returned after 2 hours to find my bitch of a wife at home, asleep in our bed. I decided not to wake her up and went to the bathroom, took a bath. I picked my fishing gear, took a 6-pack cans of beer, and went out near the river to fish. The gears in my mind were constantly moving in order to come up with a plan to punish my wife. I thought about drowning her in the river, blowing up her car with her, even planned to strangle her in her sleep. Rejected all the plans. 12 years of marriage is not worth lifetime in the prison. Divorce will be costly. I don't want to give her any money in alimony or settlements. I decide to just wait, observe, and act. I decided that I will be moving out of the house, but I did not want her to live there as well. A few days passed. I slept in the same bed as my bitch of a wife. I refused to have sex with her. Just around Christmas, she came up and said that she will be spending the Christmas with Clive and will be out for the weekend. Why don't you go out for the entire week? She looked at me. How will you spend the Christmas? She asked. I told her that maybe I'll find someone like you have found someone. She was happy and gave me a hug. I felt disgusted and pretended to be happy. She left in the morning and I enacted my plan. Since she had no interest in what was happening to our house, she had no clue that the house was in the market to be put on rent. That same day that she left, I had closed the deal with the new tenants. Since I hold the deed to the house, I did not need my wife to sign anywhere. I had rented a condo in the heart of the city with an exquisite view. A week later, when my bitch of a wife came back, she was in for a big shock. Her house was gone. She was on the street. I had asked the new tenants to give her my address. Soon enough, she was at my door. Why did you rent our house? She screamed. The house has no meaning. Look at this condo, all new and all smart. You can live here for one night and then go back to Clive. What do you mean? I mean that you guys should enjoy and spend more time with each other. I also told her that the entire rent from our house goes to pay for this condo. She stayed the night and left in the morning. Time to deal with Clive. I had to make a few phone calls and found out about his job and his family. I did not want to ruin his family, I just wanted to wreck him. A few more phone calls and I made sure that he will be out of his job in the next 3 months. I installed a dating app and started my new life. So now my wife will be here with me only one day of the week, and rest of the week I can enjoy my life. No divorce, no alimony, and I can still use my bitch of a wife for sex. 3 months later, she was back at the condo and was looking visibly upset. Talk away, sweetheart. I smiled back at my wife of 12 years. You know I'm always here for you. It's not good enough, Tom, she went on, frowning at me. It's not working out as I expected. I'm not happy. But you've got what you wanted, haven't you, Susan? I pointed out to her. It was you who told me in no uncertain terms that you wouldn't give your lover up, and that you intended to keep on seeing him. Take it or leave it, you told me. Take it or leave it. I know, she mumbled, looking very unhappy. But I just didn't expect you to agree so easily. I thought. Oh damn it, I didn't know what I thought. You were quite clear at the time, Susan, I reminded her. I recall the conversation like it was yesterday. I've been seeing, as you described it, that bastard Clive since last Christmas. He fucks me better than you do, and I'm going to spend this weekend and regular weekends with him. Not better, just different, Susan grunted, unable to meet my glare. I really meant that we'd carry on more or less as usual, but I'd spend my weekends, or at least some of them, at Clive's place. Fucking him, I interjected. Well, yes, she whined, wringing her hands together. But that would be all, and the rest of the time, I'd be living with you like normal. So, I agreed. I grinned at her. Take it or leave, or you said, so I didn't have an option. So now what's the problem? It was just supposed to be weekends, Tom. So, I was generous, sweetheart. I relished telling her. You wanted weekends, and I gave you most of the week as well. You didn't complain at the time. You didn't tell me at the time, Susan claimed, quite correctly as it happened. I went on that 2-week holiday with Clive, and when I came back, you'd rented our house out and moved into this swish apartment. Yes, fabulous, isn't it? I smiled graciously, admiring the view out of the picture windows of the city vista and the river winding its way off into the distance. I'd quite carefully explained to Susan on several occasions that all the rent from our house only just covered the rent on my new abode. But I only get to stay here one night a week, Tom, Susan sobbed. It's just not as I imagined it. You don't enjoy the sex, Susan? I demanded, putting on my very best look of disappointment. Of course, I do, honey, she gushed. It's better than it ever was, and you know it. Clive just doesn't seem to be able to cut it anymore since he lost his job and got beaten up that night. It's just not enough. Oh, he got beaten up. I'm not sure why would anyone do that to him. That's awful, sweetheart. I rushed to console her. Screwing my wife and walking away without a scratch. That does not happen, I thought to myself. If you need another night with me, then I could always ask Jane if she could give Wednesdays a miss from time to time. That's not what I damn well want, Tom. Well, how about Fridays then? I offered. Mary could swap with Nikki maybe, or perhaps double up with her. I don't just want Fridays, for God's sake, Tom. My wife cried between her sobs. I want you back. Karen's going back to college next week, Susan. I carried on regardless, trying to find a solution to our little problem. Would Saturday afternoons be any better? For God's sake, Tom, you're my husband. I love you and want you back full time. Just give me the chance to prove it to you. You've heard my offer, Susan, I answered solemnly. Now that we're more friends with benefits rather than a married couple, I really and truly enjoy sleeping with you once a week or so, and it makes a pleasant change from the younger girls who I've been seeing since you left. But you've heard my offer, and that's all I've got to say except for one thing. What's that, honey? Susan asked, looking up at me hopefully with a beaming smile. Take it or leave it, I grinned at her. Take it or leave it.
Dear listener, if you have reached this far, please click on the subscribe button. It will be a great help.
My name is Jim. I am a 32-year-old guy, and I was married to Daisy, who was 29-year-old when we got divorced. We had a perfect marriage. We met through a common friend and started dating. Dated for 3 years and then got married. Got a small house, and it was all perfect. Just like a Disney movie. Everything seemed perfect. A beautiful wife, a stable job, and a sense that life was on the right track. Little did I know, my world was about to crumble. It all started with a seemingly innocent text on my wife's phone from her coworker. Despite her assurances that it was just a joke, and that he acted that way with everyone, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. That day I let it slip but kept in the back of my mind. A few days had passed and I was still not able to let the feeling go away. I decided to install a spyware on my wife's phone and clone it on my laptop. So one night while she was asleep, I unlocked her phone using her fingerprint. It was a risky move, but I was somehow able to pull it off. I cloned the phone and now I will get every notification and every call will be recorded. The very next day, I checked the laptop and found that she was chatting with her coworker and the conversation was not very social. It was a bunch of dick pics and close shots of my wife's glory hole. I saved all of that. Determined not to let her betrayal go unanswered, I decided to take matters into my own hands. I wanted to make them both pay for the pain they caused me. Before initiating divorce proceedings, I plotted my revenge meticulously. To ruin his marriage, I collected enough evidence from my wife's phone, including compromising pictures and explicit messages. I ensured my actions couldn't be traced back to me by using cash for Visa gift cards, maintaining anonymity as I signed him up for gay adult magazines and adult toys, all delivered discreetly to his home. His wife received it. I guess he got a large stick up his ass that day. But I didn't stop there. I wanted his secret life to become public knowledge. I sent flowers to his workplace, signing the cards from his supposed gay lover, Samuel, with explicit messages that would fuel office gossip. I even took it a step further, making requests on the local radio station, posing as Samuel and publicly exposing AP's affair for everyone to hear. Amidst the chaos, I kept a facade of ignorance, and surprisingly, my wife began to distance herself from her coworker. She started showing me more attention, but I remained distant, knowing that the ultimate reckoning was on the horizon. As the rumors about AP's sexuality spread, I intensified my efforts, reveling in the chaos I had created. Revenge became my driving force, and with each calculated move, I inched closer to seeing my plan through to the end. I went all out, signing him up for every free brochure about gay cruises, vacations, festivals, and anything else I could find. His mailbox soon overflowed with junk mail from various gay resources, making it impossible for him to ignore. I didn't stop there. I had all the material sent to his workplace as well. In the midst of this chaos, I decided to contact his wife. I revealed the affair between my wife and her husband, providing proof of their indiscretions. She was initially in denial, thinking he was having an affair with Samuel, not my wife. I deliberately left the other aspects of my revenge shrouded in confusion. Adding to the fire, I stated that your husband might be swinging both ways. Despite her initial confusion, she promptly filed for divorce. With AP's life in ruins, I shifted my focus back to my wife. I orchestrated the serving of divorce papers while I was at work, ensuring she knew that I was behind everything. Alongside the papers, I sent her a single dead black rose and a note that read, "Our marriage has been dead for months now. You killed it when you started cheating with AP. I heard life hasn't turned out very well for him lately. That's a real shame. Now you can join him in the divorce club because we are through." Her devastation didn't move me. She had betrayed me, and I had achieved my revenge. I felt a satisfaction I had never experienced before, convinced that I had made the right decision. The next day, she left. I kept the house and the car, and she took all her belongings and hers. The divorce process was surprisingly smooth, and I'm relieved it's finally over. Some might view my actions as cruel and unusual, but in my hurt state, I felt like I had no other choice. I felt compelled to make them experience the same pain and betrayal they had subjected me to. It was the only way I could move forward and initiate the healing process. As for my ex-wife and AP, their lives never truly recovered. AP's reputation was so tarnished that he eventually had to leave town. Rumors circulated that they attempted to reconnect, but the damage had been done, and the thrill was gone. They could never return to the way things were, and I couldn't help but relish in that irony. Reflecting on the entire ordeal, I admit to feeling a twisted sense of pride. I had seized control of a dreadful situation and turned it in my favor. I showed them that they couldn't simply trample over me without facing consequences. Looking back, it's a stark lesson. Betrayal carries consequences, and if you're not careful, you might find yourself on the receiving end of someone's wrath. More importantly, it serves as a reminder that you have the power to take control of your own life and emerge stronger on the other side. Life is too short to let others mistreat you. Stand up for yourself and never forget that you deserve better. Now for the second story. It was a typical Friday night, and I was hanging out with my girlfriend of 2 years. Things seemed fine, but my world crumbled when I discovered some suspicious texts on her phone from an unknown guy. Confronting her, she eventually admitted to cheating on me. I felt devastated and betrayed. After tears and arguments, I decided to break up with her. It was the toughest decision, but I knew it was the right one. The weeks that followed were challenging. I missed her, despite knowing I shouldn't. Every couple I saw reminded me of what I had lost. However, a few months after our breakup, she called me in tears, revealing that her new man had dumped her after finding out about her infidelity. Strangely, I felt a hint of satisfaction, as if karma had caught up with her. She begged me to take her back, claiming she had made a mistake and missed me. Part of me wanted to believe her. I did love her. But another part knew that trust once broken is hard to rebuild. I sought advice from friends, and they all warned me to stay away, labeling her as bad news. Despite their advice, I couldn't shake the feeling that maybe she had changed. So, against better judgment, I decided to meet up with her. We went to our old cafe, a place filled with memories. Seeing her again was surreal, like stepping back in time. She looked tired and worn out, not taking care of herself. Yet, that familiar smile still had the power to stir my emotions. We talked for a while, and she seemed genuinely sorry. She admitted her mistake, acknowledging that she couldn't undo it but wanted to make things right. She professed her love and the desire to be with me again. Part of me was tempted to say yes. I missed her and wanted to believe in her change. However, another part knew I couldn't easily forget the pain she had caused. I needed to be sure she wouldn't cheat again, that I could trust her. So, I told her I needed time to think. She didn't take it well, upset and crying, expressing her inability to imagine life without me. While I understood her feelings, I knew rushing back into a relationship wasn't the answer. Trust needed to be earned back, and she had to be serious about making amends, not just seeking a rebound. In the end, I made a tough decision. I couldn't take her back immediately. I needed time to heal, unable to erase everything that happened. She didn't handle it well, got angry, and left the cafe, not to be seen or heard from again. Fast forward a bit, and life took an unexpected turn. I ran into an old high school friend, reigniting our connection. We discovered shared interests, went out a few times, and before I knew it, we were in a relationship. My story taught me valuable lessons about myself, relationships, and the importance of trust, the foundation of any meaningful connection. Sometimes letting go of something good opens the door to something great. There I was, thinking things were going well with my girlfriend of 2 years. We had our ups and downs, but overall, I was content. Little did I know that my world was about to unravel. It all began on a typical Friday night when I stumbled upon text on her phone from a guy I didn't know. Confronting her, she reluctantly admitted to cheating on me. Feeling like a fool, I decided to break up with her. It was heart-wrenching, but I couldn't stay with someone so dishonest. The following weeks were tough, filled with reminders of what I had lost. But then, karma seemed to intervene. A few months later, she called, sobbing about her new man dumping her upon discovering her cheating. Part of me felt a twinge of satisfaction, but I wrestled with conflicting emotions. She pleaded for another chance, claiming she had made a mistake and missed me. Despite my friend's advice to stay away, I couldn't shake the feeling that maybe she had changed. We met up to talk, revisiting the cafe we used to frequent. She seemed worn out, but that familiar smile persisted. She apologized sincerely, expressing regret and a desire to make things right. Although tempted, I knew I couldn't instantly trust her again. I asked for time to think, which didn't sit well with her. She left the cafe angrily, and since then, I haven't seen or heard from her. In an unexpected turn, I reconnected with an old high school friend. Our bond grew into a new relationship, teaching me valuable lessons about trust, letting go, and finding something great after letting go of something good. Life is too short to let others walk all over you. Stand up for yourself and remember, you deserve better. As I started reminiscing about the good times we shared, a wave of nostalgia swept over me, making me ponder if forgiveness was possible. But then, the flood of lies, broken promises, and the pain she inflicted reminded me of the harsh reality. I couldn't allow her back into my life. I deserved better. It's been a few months since I last saw her. Thoughts of her linger at times, but deep down, I'm certain I made the right choice. I've come to realize that I'm better off without her. If she's truly out there, selling herself to the highest bidder, I can't help but feel a sense of pity for her. While she may have believed she was getting the best of me in the end, she only succeeded in cheating herself.
Dear listener, if you have reached this far, please click on the subscribe button. It will be a great help.